During spring break, 9 girls from the Priory were given the opportunity to travel to Cambodia for a service learning trip. The main reasons for our visit were to learn more about the culture and history of the people of Cambodia, to understand their political, social, and economic struggles, and to observe and learn about what various NGOs are doing to help the country. This is so we could get an idea of some of the things we could do to help. Cambodia is located in Southeast Asia and borders Vietnam, Thailand, and Laos. After 13 hours of travel, we were all anxious to touch foot on foreign soil. Visiting a third world country located on a completely different continent was a rush within itself. We started off our day with the trip to the Royal Palace, Silver Pagoda, and Silver Temple. We then visited the National Museum and Tuol Prison. We were able to explore the rich culture and brutal history of Cambodia. Through complex artifacts and architecture, as well as the horrible genocide under the Khmer Rouge, we learned the beauty of their culture. Our first day ended with a relaxing cruise on Mekong River. Day 2 was the main day of knowledge. We started off our morning by visiting the eyebrow of the Buddha temple, where we received a blessing from a monk and learned about certain traditions practiced in Buddhism, the religion of Cambodia. We then drove to Chong Et killing fields, where we received first-hand information about the rich Khmer history. We even got to meet 2 of the few survivors of the genocide. The killing field was overwhelming for all of us, but by the end of the day we felt fortunate to know the truth and given the opportunity to gain more knowledge. That afternoon, we went to Sustainable Schools International, SSI, which is where we got to meet our pen pals and other kids from the Leadership Academy. Seeing their classroom, we all exchanged an introduction. They were very eager to learn about where we had come from, and we shared that we were happy to be in Cambodia learning about their culture. We learned of their struggles and why they chose this education. Through fun games and conversation, we made connections and bonds that will never be forgotten. On our way to the village homestay, we stopped at the Odum mountain temples and was given a tour by our very own friends from SSI. They explained the history of the temples and how the king had moved from Angkor to Odum in 1432. It was a hot day and the hike was very difficult, but it was interesting to see the many stupas, Buddha statues, and even the monkeys. After a couple more hours of driving, we finally made it to the village and met 2 families that would host us for the next few days. After we greeted the families and got settled, we headed off to a local health clinic and one of the SSI schools. At the health clinic, we presented medical supplies that we brought from home and learned about their initiatives in providing good medical support for the villagers. At the school, the children were so excited and curious to meet us, as they have probably never seen so many foreigners before. We played games such as sharks and minnows, tug-of-war, and other Cambodian games which we familiarized ourselves with. On our second day in the village, we started the day off by crashing a wedding. The wedding was so uplifting and full of joy and color. We learned their 3-day celebration and observed how serious they take this process. The families greeted us with so much love, and they even let us participate in the procession of the wedding. Instead of taking our tour bus for the day, we had the opportunity to ride what people call the mechanical cow, also known as the power tiller. We rode through the villages and saw firsthand the conditions of the Cambodian people. We visited another school and instantly fell in love with the children and the teachers there. We continued our journey with the power tiller and went on a narrow hiking path to see what was left of Cambodia's forestry. Our experience was led by a courageous and strong monk. His happiness was truly contagious, and his compassion for nature and his animals was inspiring. Overall, the village experience was a new and eye-opening one. It was definitely something that a lot of us did not expect, but we were all very glad we did it. One thing that really stood out was how kind our host families were. They treated us like we were part of their family and worked very hard to accommodate and cook for us. Another thing that really stood out was the strong family and community ties in the village. Everyone in the family has a role and are always willing to help each other. It was really nice to see such a close-knit community. It was very important that we got to see the difference between rural and urban living in the country, and it gave us a better understanding of the social and economic aspects of the life of the Cambodians. We said goodbye to our host families before we headed out to Siem Reap. On our way there, we stopped by Sembar Praekuk Conservatory, which is a Hindu temple complex that is said to date back before the Angkor period. We saw many temples in this complex, but what we witnessed wasn't even half of it. There used to be more temples, but they were all destroyed due to the natural disasters and the aftermath of the Khmer Rouge. Ended our day by enjoying a very entertaining circus performance put on by Fair Circus. They performed a show called Sokha, which is about a teacher who strongly encourages the younger generation to rebuild their society after the atrocities of the genocide. On the next day, we met up with a worker from Build Your Future Today Center, which is an NGO who brought us to a couple families and small schools in the village. This organization provides programs to educate an entire family through schooling, counseling, health initiatives, and peace building. We visited one family where the lady of the household taught us how to weave traditional baskets. We then went to a preschool where our group and the kids exchanged in song and chant. We were also given the opportunity to teach the kids Itsy Bitsy Spider with hand motions. After that, our tour guide gave us a little talk about the lifestyle in the village. He showed us the palm trees and how important it is to Cambodia. We even got to try some of the palm juice. That night, we were able to enjoy our dinner while watching a beautiful traditional Cambodian dance called Apsara. The next day, we had the chance to visit the Angkor complex, which includes Angkor Thom, Toprom, and Angkor Wat, one of the man-made wonders of the world. We learned so much history in just one day, including the significance of the various temples and its dedication for each king. Although this day was very long and involved a lot of walking, we enjoyed looking at the temples and the intricate hand-carved designs on the walls. Fun fact: Cambodia went through many revolutions of Buddhism and Hinduism. Each newly appointed king determined the religion of the country. Angkor Wat, the main attraction in the complex, is the largest religious monument in the world. These temples date back to the 9th to the 15th century, which is magnificent and advanced for the time period. On our last day in Siem Reap, we visited another NGO called Cambodia Dutch Organization. This organization works for community development by establishing schools and health clinics in the village. At the school, we were able to talk to children, young and old, and they gave us their drawings as gifts. They then performed for us their traditional dance that they had been working on. Later that afternoon, we went back to Fair Circus and participated in a circus workshop where we were taught certain juggling tricks and tumbles. It was very fun and very challenging. The following day, we left Siem Reap and had a long drive back to Phnom Penh. Along the way, we made a stop at a village popular for its market containing fried spiders and as well as other insects for sale. Some of the students were brave enough to actually purchase and eat them. While visiting the market, we were able to also hold live tarantulas that had been caught and were going to be prepared for frying. Don't worry though, they had taken the fangs off before letting us touch them. Once we arrived in Phnom Penh, we visited SSI for the last time before leaving Cambodia. We chatted with our pen pals for a very long time, hoping that we would see each other soon in the near future. After almost 2 weeks of being in Cambodia, we finally headed for the airport for our journey to Korea and then back home. Not many people know about Cambodia and its history, but now that we've learned these things, we are able to become more aware and better citizens. After coming home from our trip, we've all been inspired to continue helping SSI and other NGOs like it, to do what we can to help people around the world. This trip offered us an amazing learning experience that we will all remember forever.
Thank you!